Hey everybody, welcome to the next episode of Did You Hear About This? I'm Bill, here as always with Scott.
How's it going?
How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. Good to be back in the dungeon.
The normal dungeon, not what you inferred last time.
That was inferred. That was all your interpretation of what I was saying. We're back in the man cave.
No whips and chains here.
No whips and chains.
You look nice and rested.
Yeah. You'd think I was the one that was in the tropics, not like you.
Yeah, we didn't tell anybody why there was no episode last week. We just couldn't get it squeaked out. I had to leave for Bahamas.
Oh, good for you.
Just got a little tied up. I think we thought we were going to be able to pull one off.
Yeah. And you know, it's funny. I talk to a lot of people and they go, God damn, that Bill's always going someplace.
Who says that?
Fans of the show. They're like, he's in Mexico. He's in L.A. He's in the Bahamas. What the fuck's with this guy? What does he do for a living? He sells drugs.
Oh, yeah. I'm a domestic drug mule. Tell me where you need me to take the cocaine and I'll take it.
Packed to the brim.
It is true. I am traveling a lot more. Like when I was younger, I didn't travel hardly at all.
Yeah.
And now I got the bug for it. So
yeah. I've been home doing a lot of home repair.
What are you working on?
I am putting an outdoor kitchen in the backyard.
That's cool.
So I tore out the hot tub, hacked it up. I tore out my old grilling stage area, filled it with rock. Going to be laying pavers to level out the future kitchen this weekend and going to build a pavilion. So it's going to be a covered smoker's paradise.
That's cool. Right up your alley.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, now the hot tub. You never even got into the hot tub.
I got in the hot tub 4 times.
Oh, really?
Motherfucker leaked like a sieve.
That's one of those things, like buying a hot tub. Like, you know how people use that hot tub before you bought the house.
Well, and that's just it. I didn't buy a hot tub. I bought a house that happened to have a hot tub. And let me tell you, when I tore that hot tub apart, I was like, this thing's fucking infested. I can't believe I ever got in here. I can't believe I soaked my twig and berries inside this fucking disgusting infested thing.
Yeah, we had a moment like that in the Bahamas. So it was our 10th anniversary, so we spent a little bit more coin. And we ended up with a room that had its own little pool, right? So we had our own little secluded pool. And we jumped in and, we're like, hey, nobody's looking. Let's do it naked.
That's a fuck puddle. That's what you had.
Yeah. So we're in the water and we're like, the thing that we're thinking is probably the same thing everybody else has thought over and over again when they stayed here.
This is not an original idea.
We got right out of the pool.
Right in the shower.
Yeah. So far, how's your hearing? You're not hearing any raptors?
Clever girl.
No.
Oh.
I'm good. No clicking. No auditory feedback.
No auditory fuck-upperies. Sorry, everybody, for the last episode. When we were recording that episode, and Scott knows this, I'm just telling you guys, I heard the clicking in my ears, and I was just like, oh, it's just a headphone thing, because when I turned my little headphone connector, it would stop. So I'm like, it's just a headphone thing. There's no way it's recording it. So I didn't even think to stop and check the recording.
And you did spot check it after the recording, and you were like, yeah, I spot checked it, didn't hear anything,
Didn't hear a thing.
We're good to go. And then I sit down and do the full edit, and I was like, oh, this is a problem.
Yeah.
Nice. And I did cut out as much as I could, but it did make the show.
Nice job spot checking, asshole.
You would have had to listen to the entire show. That would have been a full-on edit and not a spot check. I'm sure the spots you checked were clean.
I wonder if people were like listening to it in their car and all of a sudden what's that ASMR? Like an ASMR raptor from Jurassic Park? Like just kind of clicking into your ear?
I was listening to it in my car the other day driving to work, and I heard it, forgetting about it. And I thought, why am I getting static on my car radio? Like, I thought maybe like my phone cable was going bad or it was a bad Bluetooth connection, but I was like, oh yeah, you stupid shit. You don't know how to edit.
One of our episodes, one of us dropped in a siren, and Amy said, I thought I was being pulled over. And I was like, I never thought of that.
I did that. That was dumb.
Well, was it dumb or hilarious?
I don't know if it's legal.
Ooh. You ever see people driving with headphones in? I don't think that's
not legal. That's definitely illegal, at least in Pennsylvania.
I like it. I like when I see it. I like some rebellion.
What do you think they're listening to? Do you think their car doesn't have a radio or Bluetooth speaker, or what's the point?
I don't know. I wonder that too.
It's fucking dumb.
Well, what do you say? I've got some news stories as usual. I actually have a Hollywood-related just story, just something from the past.
Like a main story.
Like a main story, right? The show, we always say, it's, did you hear about this? We're going to bring news items. We're going to bring stories. We've done a great job bringing news items, but this is going to be the first story that we brought under the new banner. And I'm thinking about the Killdozer story you told and the Kentucky meat, shower.
Meat shower.
So this is kind of in that vein.
All right.
I also got a bunch of other news stories we'll go into a little bit deeper. And then I'm trying something new. If this doesn't work, sorry, everybody. You're going to be our guinea pigs. But I'm calling them quick bites. Just headlines. Just a riff. Just a riff over some headlines real quick. So story, some beefy news topics, and then quick bites.
And I know none of these.
And you know none of them.
All right.
So this could go horribly wrong if I pull up a news item and you're like, I don't give a shit. Get the cricket sound effect ready.
Oh, man.
All right. So I found out about this story I'm about to tell on vacation. I was just going through YouTube and I heard the story in one of the channels that I was watching. And I was like, this is crazy. So I had to dig into it a little bit more. I call this story The Twisted Tale of Fantasy Island's 5th season.
With Tattoo and Ricardo Montalban?
Ricardo Montalban.
Welcome to Fantasy Island.
Do you know anything about the show? Like, it was on in like
the show. It was an ABC show, I think. I remember it was on Sundays, and we would always be at my grandparents' house for dinner on Sundays. We would watch it.
Oh, man, because that was like 1981, 82.
I remember the theme. I remember everything. The plane.
You were like negative age.
I was born in 80, but maybe I watched it in syndication.
Probably reruns.
Yeah, I don't know, but I know of it. Yes.
I didn't know anything of it. Like, other than the,
you would go to the island. You knew the theme.
Yeah, I knew the theme.
Okay.
Just like Love Boat. I've never watched The Love Boat. I've never watched The Fantasy Island.
The Love Boat.
So I really didn't know a whole lot about this show. But let me read this story to you. When Fantasy Island's Season 5 premiere aired in the fall of 1981, it was a rushed job. Producers were worried about a Directors Guild strike.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah. Skipped their summer hiatus, which is like a thing I guess they do, like teachers.
Well, yeah, because they'll do they always air reruns during the summer months.
Yeah, that's true.
And they do sweeps week in the fall. Yeah.
So they skipped their summer hiatus to film and bank episodes into the spring. So during the 1980 and 81 season, Hervé Villachez, who I knew nothing about other than
never heard of him.
Plane. I mean,
oh, that's his name?
Yeah, Hervé Villachez.
I just knew him as Tattoo.
Oh, he's Hervé.
Hervé, all right.
And Hervé's a wild character. So Hervé Villachez.
Is he like the mini-me of the Vern Troyer of the 1980s?
No question.
Oh, god damn, I love this already.
All right, so Hervé Villachez, who played Tattoo, was miserable on set and didn't hide it from the press. He complained that the show was becoming ridiculous with Rourke. Rourke was Montalban,
yes.
Right? I guess he was called Mr. Rourke, played by Ricardo Montalban. Tattoo thought he was getting too godlike on the show.
Okay.
All right. I don't really know what that means. Again, not being a fan of the show, but maybe everything he wanted, he got, or everything he said came true. Maybe that's kind of what they're saying.
Okay.
So Villachez also wanted a larger role. No pun intended. Telling the AP in 1980.
That's horrible.
That he was, can you edit that one out? That he was turning into a glorified extra, right? He was afraid he was becoming a glorified extra. He wasn't the main focus. He just thought he was walking around doing whatever his boss told him in the show, and that's not how Hervé wanted his character to be portrayed.
That's exactly how I remember that character.
Yeah, pretty much. He demanded better working conditions, citing long hours that took a toll on his health. The 311 actor also requested a stand-in so he could take needed breaks. Producers shrugged him off, telling the LA Times that his demands were difficult to meet. Villachez stood firm and refused to return to work until his demands were met. Ooh. Getting juicy.
Sounds like a holdout.
To counter his gambit, in early 1981, Aaron Spelling and executive producer Leonard Goldberg put out a casting call for a new Rourke assistant, perhaps to send Villachez a message that they could cut him any single time they wanted to.
Yeah, that is a gamble. If you feel like all you are is a glorified extra, it's very easy to replace a glorified extra.
Yeah.
So that was a foolish move. That's not a very good tactic on his part.
So the way that they pulled this off, they get this actress named Melinda Naud. All right, so by 1981, Naud was already a TV character actor, having appeared in shows like The Love Boat, The $6 Million Man, McMillan and Wife. I don't remember that.
McMillan and Wife? Yeah.
McMillan and Wife. And Happy Days. She even appeared in one of Fantasy Island's best episodes called Charlie's Cherubs, where three board insurance secretaries fantasized about being just like the ladies in another Aaron Spelling show, Charlie's Angels.
Charlie's Angels, yes.
So after auditioning for producers, Melinda Naud was told she had the gig as the new Tattoo, right? She wasn't going to be called Tattoo, but she's the new Tattoo. But then as quickly as the job offer came, it vanished. Melinda Naud suspected it was because of a secret from her past that was embarrassing to ABC and beyond her control.
Sounds like porn.
Dun, dun, dun. To understand this, we need to flash back to December 1977, Scott. So ABC's president of entertainment, Fred Pierce, was in Hollywood. This is 1977. Taking his new third in command, Anthony Thamopoulos. What kind of name is this?
Sounds Greek.
Thamopoulos. I never tried to pronounce it before right now. That's
It sounded good in your head.
That's real professionalism, isn't it? So they all said, hey, let's take Thamopoulos to a late dinner. So Pierce invited Melinda Naud, right? Then one of the stars of ABC's Operation Petticoat, I don't know that show, to join them as well. So Melinda Naud brought a friend to make it a foursome. Not that kind of foursome.
Oh, okay.
At an upscale restaurant. After dinner, Melinda Naud suggested some after-dinner entertainment and called her friend Beverly Dean. All right. In 1977, Dean was a budding TV producer and a budding celebrity psychic, trusted by stars like Suzanne Summers and Farrah Fawcett. Melinda Naud suggested getting a reading from Dean, which Pierce and Thamopoulos agreed to do for a laugh. During Thamopoulos' reading, Dean predicted he would soon be promoted to second in command because his superior, Fred Silverman, would soon quit. Pierce was like, bullshit, the guy ain't going to quit. He's a freaking rock star.
Second in command,
He's
right.
making the station, the network so much money. But just 3 weeks later, Silverman shocked the industry by moving to NBC, fulfilling Dean's prediction. This prompted Pierce to hire Dean secretly, paying her $24,000 a year in 1981 money for script consulting services while keeping her role confidential to avoid ridicule. All right, so
she's like a behind-the-scenes psychic?
She's a behind-the-scenes psychic. This guy's like, this is nonsense. And then it came true. He's like, I need you. I need you on the staff.
All right.
Dean's insights seemed beneficial. For instance, she predicted shows like Vegas, Taxi, and Mork and Mindy would be hits, and they were. So in return, Pierce rewarded her handsomely and even greenlit her movie project, A Time for Miracles. That smash hit, A Time for Miracles. I don't know what that is.
Never heard of it. She should have known it wasn't going to be that big of a hit.
However, as Dean's influence grew, so did the internal resistance at ABC. By 1981, word of the psychic's role leaked to the press, sparking a scandal that became known as Ouija Gate.
I love it.
Pierce was forced to cut ties with Dean, but the damage was already done. So when the New York Times broke the story in March 1981, the industry's reaction was harsh. Comedians had a field day, and ABC slipped to number 2 in the ratings behind CBS for the first time in a decade. Amid this chaos, the identity of the third person who introduced Pierce and Dean remained a mystery, fueling speculation. Eventually, it was revealed it was Melinda Naud. She's the one that took them all to that psychic in the first place.
But that sounds so crazy that would be like who would care who introduced two people? You know what I mean?
There was so much just mockery.
Yeah, I guess.
So she was just kind of pulled into the mockery.
On his radar, I guess. Okay, all right.
So now it's like, coincidentally, she's trying to be the new Tattoo.
And she thinks she lost this job of Tattoo because of making that introduction 6 years, 7 years prior.
That's what she believes. So since Melinda Naud was like, all right, I guess I'm not getting this gig. I don't know why, but I have a feeling why. They replaced her with Wendy Shaw. I guess they did go forward with creating a...
So they had another assistant for work.
Yeah, a regular-sized woman.
I don't remember any of that.
Yeah, me neither. That's how much of a
I mean,
fan
I wasn't a huge fan. And to your point, I was very young when this came out. But yeah, I mean, you ask me Fantasy Island, I think of Ricardo Montalban and I think of Deplane.
So Melinda didn't get the job. This other Wendy Shaw got the job, but her portrayal as Tattoo's replacement was unpopular. So as the season progressed, Fantasy Island's ratings just plummeted. To salvage the situation, producers wooed Villichez back.
I was going to say, what if they would have wrote it back that like 3'11" Villichez on his fantasy on Fantasy Island, he wanted to be a skinny white woman.
That'd be amazing.
Hey, where are the white women at?
What's that from? Blazing Saddles?
Blazing Saddles.
Where are we here? To salvage the situation, producers wooed Villachez back for season 6, granting him a tattoo-centric episode and hiring a stand-in for him. So, despite this, Villachez still clashed with producers over salary demands, leading to his final dismissal after season 6. His replacement, I didn't know this, Mr. Belvedere's Christopher Hewitt. Mr. Belvedere was the third tattoo.
That's incredible.
But he couldn't save the show. It just ended up dying with bad ratings. So Villachez's career never recovered, and he tragically took his own life in 1993. I didn't know that.
I didn't either.
Melinda Naud, disillusioned by her experiences here, she left acting altogether. While Beverly Dean's career in TV also ended following the scandal. However, Dean found a niche as a talent scout and manager, discovering stars like Reese Witherspoon and Kevin Sorbo before she passed away in 2017.
It should have been easy for her. She can see the future.
Fred Pierce, the man who led ABC to #1 in the 1970s, was removed from his role shortly after the scandal broke. Today, he remains relatively obscure, overshadowed by his colleagues like Fred Silverman and Brandon Tartikoff, who became pop culture icons. That's a fun story.
That is pretty wild.
A psychic.
Now, let me ask you, put yourself in that situation. You meet a psychic. For a laugh, you do a reading. They tell you something completely fucking absurd about your business. It becomes true. Do you just chalk it up to being like a fluke? Or I mean, you're not putting that person on the payroll and being like, everything you say is gold.
Well, right. That's why I would be laughing at the guy. I'd be like, you're supposed to be like a highly intelligent, network executive, and you believe in psychics?
Yeah, you're just throwing darts to see, hope something sticks.
Yeah, I'm like Houdini. Houdini loved doing magic tricks, but he'd tell you they were magic tricks.
Right.
He hated...
They were illusions. He was an illusionist.
Yeah.
Yes.
But he hated psychics. He hated... remember we talked about
charlatans.
we talked about Uri Geller, like people like that who would lie to you and tell you it wasn't a trick. They'd say it's real magic.
I'm thinking of that John Edwards guy. Remember that guy was talking to dead people back in the 90s? Fuck that guy.
I hate that.
You're completely playing on people's emotions.
Yeah.
And grief and... you're a dickhead.
It's awful. And there's people that, I don't know, are they low info processing skilled people who fall for that? I don't know how you fall for that, but a lot of people do.
Well, a lot of people want to believe.
Yeah.
You want to believe that your sister that's deceased is coming through. You want to believe that it's easy to, a saying that I believe very heavily in is you find whatever it is you're seeking. So if these people are looking to take advantage, you're going to buy into it.
I know a lot of people would rather be led, than lead. Maybe that's kind of this. Like they just want to have the answer. They don't want to seek anything more true. They just want to be told how something is.
Have you ever been to a psychic?
I had one come to a restaurant I used to work at, and she got everything wrong. And I could tell how she was kind of reading me and looking for I was stone-faced, and she got everything wrong.
Yeah. I know people in my personal life that see psychics regularly.
For fun or because they believe in them?
They believe in them.
Yeah.
One woman that I know used to go see this psychic strictly because she was Native American and thought that this Native American woman had an insight that no one else could possibly have.
Anything's possible, but I don't believe in it.
Okay, but I feel like these people do take money for these readings, right?
Yeah.
And it's not illegal. Is it immoral?
I think so. I do.
Now, what if a psychic told you something and because of your faith in what they're saying, the power of positive thinking was instilled in you where it did come true because you made it happen, because you felt you had the ability to do it, because you felt you already knew the outcome?
Well, then pay for somebody who gives you the power of positive, speaking instead of
things into existence rather than telling the future.
Yeah.
Yeah, I almost rather see somebody be like a life coach than be a psychic.
I mean, that's a hard gig to just lie to people all day long.
I don't know. There's a psychic place over on, 2 miles from my house. And the owners always have 2 BMWs parked in the fucking driveway. So they're doing something right.
I guess.
Sucker born every minute.
Is there somebody in your past named Buzz?
I'm thinking of Is it Mark?
Is it Mark?
Is it Mary?
Michael? Mama? No. Oh, it must. Yeah, I mean, they just kind of
The
look
cold
at you.
read.
Yeah, that's what it is. The cold read.
Yeah.
And some people give it away. You know, is it? Their eyes get big. They're like, oh my god, she knows Mike.
Yeah, but like this guy banked his entire career on it. That's insane.
I have a psychic feeling that Mork and Mindy is going to be a hit.
That Robin Williams, he's going places.
I could have told you Mork and Mindy would be a hit.
Jesus Christ.
I have no psychic powers.
Robin Williams already had a stand-up career at the point of Mork and Mindy, right?
He did. So I actually know that story too. You know what? We're going to go off the script.
I love it.
I was real, and this is tied in with what I saw on my vacation. You are the segue master today.
I'm psychic.
You are psychic. I believe now. So evidently, as Happy Days was getting weirder and weirder, and
Jumped the shark?
Yeah, it jumped the shark.
Literally?
Yeah. So they wanted to have this dream episode where an alien came in, and they some of the cast was like, "This is fucking stupid." Like I remember interviews with Potsy, right? What's his name?
What is his name?
Anson Williams?
Anson Williams. Yes, that's his name. That's Potsy.
I had to envision the opening credits of the spinning record and Anson Williams.
And you had Opie.
Yeah. Ron Howard.
Ron
right?
Howard.
So evidently Ron Howard was like, oh, that sounds like a neat idea. Let's see how it plays out. But the rest were like, this is stupid. So they were looking for a guy to play a alien. And they kept bringing people in, and they were like, yeah, I can't do this. I'm leaving. Like, they'd leave. They'd be like,
stupid script.
It's a stupid script. Thank you for thinking of me. I'm here wasting your time. I got to go. And they said when somebody said, hey, there's this guy that I just saw at the Laugh Factory in LA. Like, he's crazy. He does these crazy sounds. He's going to be perfect for an alien. They brought him in, and his performance was so good that the producers, I don't know which one, saw him and went, this guy's a genius. We need to give him a spinoff. So he blew everybody away. He got a standing ovation from the crowd who watched that taping because he was so good. And that was
a live studio audience.
That was, that was Robin Williams' first like big win in Hollywood.
Wow. So he wasn't even a well-known stand-up at that point.
Not at all.
Wow.
They said he would just come in and do like the craziest things, like kiss his own butt goodbye, like weird stuff. And they were like, what the hell is in this guy's brain?
Yeah, and the idea that Taxi was going to be big, I mean, maybe hindsight's 2020, but Taxi was a huge cast. Like, so many huge character actors came out of Taxi.
Yeah.
Danny DeVito, Tony Danza.
Keep going. Let me see what else you got.
Fucking,
the other guy. Christopher Lloyd.
Man on the Moon. Fucking...
Latka? Yeah, what's his
name?
Andy Kaufman. Mary Lou Henner.
Mary Lou.
Yeah, I heard her on Stern one day. She has one of those memories.
Wait, yeah, she can tell you what date something happened and what day of the week it was and shit like that.
Evidently. So Stern's like, all right, August 22nd, 1987. The temperature was 64. It was a little bit breezy. I remember I went to the gym and then like, what the hell?
How come when you say Mary Lou Henner, I think of a gymnast?
Mary Lou... Well, yeah, who's that?
Why am I thinking of a gymnast with like a bob haircut?
Yeah. What's her name? She was on the Wheaties box. I almost said Mary Lou Stratton. I don't think that's it. Mary Lou Henner or Mary Lou? Prom Night 2? Hello, Mary Lou?
I don't know. When you said the name, I was like, well, that doesn't seem right. I was picturing a Wheaties box.
I know exactly what you're talking about. All right.
Yeah, fuck it.
Write in if you... you know who it is. Because somebody's in their car going...
Mary Lou
Smith, you idiot. Honk if you know the answer.
I will not put honks in this episode for traffic safety reasons.
We don't want to get arrested like we almost did with the
siren.
Yeah, the ambulance. All right, so let me move on to some other stories here. Now we're moving into the little bit beefier stories, but not quite the
good story, by the way. Great story.
You like that?
I did.
All right, I'll keep them.
I had no idea about any of that.
I know. When I heard it, I was just like, that's so insane. Like, that's totally something that would happen in the 80s.
Everything. Fantasy Island, little people, psychics.
Stupidity.
Everything we like. It couldn't have been more 80s unless there was like...
Or a droid. Or some kind of spaceship.
Bitty.
That's different.
Twiggy. Oh, Buck.
Whoa, Buck. I want to stand in shorter work days. Bitty, bitty, bitty.
If you want to see the best Hervé Villechaize role ever, it's a movie called The Forbidden Zone. All right. It's a total art flick. It's made by the brother of Danny Elfman and the guys from Oingo Boingo. Back then they were called the, not the Church of Oingo Boingo, the something. They weren't just Oingo Boingo. So all those guys used to do a really weird gong show act.
Really?
So this movie is all of that weirdness, and Hervé Villechaize is in it, just acting like a sex freak, like a maniac. Like you see him make love to a woman. It's so bizarre. So damn bizarre.
Do you know what I'm picturing? Weng Weng.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that scene in Weng Weng.
Weng Weng would never hold out. Weng Weng was not making demands.
No.
Weng Weng was completely exploited.
But he was a coxman, too.
He was a coxman, completely underappreciated, overworked. Before his time.
Yeah. You don't know what we're talking about. Go back about 22 episodes.
We are pushing 80 episodes now, but yeah, Weng Weng is definitely worth a check out.
Yeah. The Mystical Knights of the Oingo Boingo. That's what they used to be called before they dropped it to be Oingo Boingo.
That was the name of the band?
Yeah. Like 1979 to like 1982, they were the Mystical Knights of, I don't know if that date is right, but right around that area.
They went on the Gong Show with that?
They were on the Gong Show. Yeah.
No shit.
All dressed up like weirdos. Oingo Boingo, I think is a great band. It's a great 80s band, but they're still weird.
They're very weird.
Yeah.
Very weird.
But they were weirder.
You say the Gong Show, all I can think of is Mean Gene, the dance machine.
I don't remember him. I only remember the baghead comedian, the unknown comic. All right, a little bit of Star Wars news. I thought this was interesting. From Variety, Carrie Fisher had a lot of pressure on her to be thin for Star Wars before her death, says friend James Blunt. She really put a lot of pressure.
James Blunt, the musician?
Yes, apparently very good friends with Princess Leia.
I did read this story, but I didn't think James Blunt was James Blunt.
I assumed it was, well, here it is. It is, because it says, musician James Blunt recently said at the Hay Festival in Wales, via People magazine, that his close friend Carrie Fisher faced tremendous pressure to be thin for Star Wars when she reprised her iconic role as Princess Leia in Star Wars The Force Awakens. Fisher previously told Good Housekeeping UK in 2015, shortly before The Force Awakens opened, that she lost 35 pounds for the movie. She died 1 year later in December 2016 after going into cardiac arrest while flying from London to Los Angeles. All right, here's what Blunt says. She's been really mistreating her body, and she just got the job again of being Princess Leia in a new Star Wars movie.
I mean, this sounds like bullshit. Like, not that she did that, but who else were they going to cast? Oh. Were they not going to cast Carrie Fisher, who's still alive and going? They were going to give Princess Leia a role to somebody else?
I thought you thought bullshit was James Blunt is still around.
No, okay, James Blunt, fine, that's funny. But the idea that she had to, like, you know, Carrie, if you don't drop this weight, we're giving this role to somebody else. Bullshit.
That's a good point. See, I totally believe they're like, hey, get skinny.
Yeah, I don't doubt that. I mean, that's like Hollywood dirtbags. That's Hollywood dirtbags.
Blunt became friends with Fisher in the 2000s and even lived with her and her mother, the late Debbie Reynolds, when he was recording his debut album Back to Bedlam in 2004. The album proved a breakthrough for Blunt thanks to the success of singles such as You're Beautiful. So there you go. It's definitely the James Blunt. He goes on to say Carrie was really on a high and a positive, but they had applied a lot of pressure on her to be thin. She spoke about the difficulties that women have in the industry, how men are allowed to grow old, and women are certainly not in film and TV. So she started using drugs again. And by the time she got on the plane, she had effectively killed herself. Blunt adds, they say it was heart failure of some kind, but she had taken enough drugs to have a really good party. So Variety reached out to Lucasfilm. The studio has no comment on the matter. According to the Los Angeles County Coroner's Office, Fisher had cocaine, methadone, ethanol, and opiates in her system at the time of her death. In her 2015 interview with Good Housekeeping UK, Fisher said the studio didn't want to hire all of me. That's funny. She was funny. They didn't want to hire all of me. When it came to time to bring Princess Leia back to the big screen, only about 3/4, she quipped, about needing to lose weight. Nothing changes. It's an appearance-driven thing. I'm in a business where the only thing that matters is weight and appearance. That's so messed up, Fisher told the publication. They might as well say, get younger, because that's how easy it is. I did it the same way everybody has to. Don't eat and exercise more. There's no other way to do it. I have a harder time eating properly than I do exercising. It's easier for me to add an activity than to deny myself something. And when I do lose the weight, I don't like that it makes me feel good about myself. Not who I am. My problem is they talk to me like an actress, but I hear them like a writer. I don't know what she's really saying there.
I don't either.
Not that I read it that well, but that's a little... That's about it. So, yeah, at the end of the day, she died because she got on the drugs because she was stressed out about, having to get skinny for Star Wars. That's what I read. But that's Hollywood. I totally believe this story. It probably stressed her out so damn much that she broke her sobriety, got hooked, and it's what killed her.
But the idea that as critical and in love and devoted to the original actors that Star Wars fans are, 20 pounds heavier, 35 pounds heavier, whatever it was she said there, that they wouldn't have brought her back because of that. As bad as those movies were received, would have been received 20 times worse.
Yeah, you're totally right. And if they tried to CGI thin her, that would have just been worse.
Fuck that.
So they were just dickheads behind the scenes kind of pressuring her. Yeah, but she's so, tough.
She seems very headstrong.
Yeah. Why didn't she say, fuck you, I'm fat now?
Yeah, right.
Accept it.
Right?
I would have accepted it. Been all right. I've seen her, before she got into that role. I knew she was heavy. I didn't care. I was still excited to see Princess Leia heavy.
Yeah, they weren't putting old lady Leia into a gold bikini.
No, they weren't. Yeah, I don't know. Just thought it was interesting that Star Wars may have killed Princess Leia in a roundabout way.
I thought when you said Star Wars story, I thought you were going to talk about the new show, The Acolyte.
Is it out?
It came out yesterday.
Remember I told you I'm done?
2 days ago. Yeah, I tuned in this morning for maybe the first 10 minutes. I saw the opening scene. I did have things to do, but I could have watched more, and I turned it off. It just felt like more of the same.
But you could have watched more. You were somewhat intrigued.
I don't know. We'll see if I go back.
Yeah, it's the first one I'm not going to watch, and I feel okay.
It's still a prequel story to the trilogy that we all grew up with and know and love.
Who gives a shit? Although, even though I went on this trip and I watched only YouTube videos when I was in my hotel room, I did watch a movie. I just want to throw it in there. Since we do non sequiturs. And
what do you watch?
So I watched Argyle.
Yes.
Have you seen that? It's on Apple.
No, but this has in Bryce Dallas Howard?
Yeah.
And it was rumored that this movie was written by Taylor Swift. Have you heard about this?
No.
Yeah, it was a rumor going around that Taylor Swift wrote this movie. I don't know why. My wife told me this. If it's a fuck-uppery, it's on Jenna.
Good. Gonna have to bring her next week and have her face the music.
Face the music.
It was very smart. It was well shot. I'm blanking on the director's name, but he did The Kingsman. He did Last Stand. So he's got some style.
It had the same visual style as those movies.
Yep.
I seen the extended preview where she's on the train and an assassin tries to kill her.
Yeah.
She's a cat in a backpack.
Yeah.
It's a whole weird thing. She's an author that writes spy thrillers that happen to be true.
Well, yeah, you'd be giving away too much.
This is my understanding for having not seen the movie. This is my understanding of it.
It's a twisty movie.
Yeah, okay.
It did that thing that I always hated. There's always one scene too many, and it's like that scene was really shabby and seemed rushed. Why didn't you just cut it? It wasn't needed, but yeah. All right, here's my next story. It's less about the title of the story, more about what I'm going to tell you about Green Lantern. All right. So the title is, and this is from Fandom Wire, which is, I never know.
Always quality stuff.
Always a little sketchy, but we don't care.
Nah.
He is close to Satan in my book. James Gunn can't outrun his past as his comment about Green Lantern writer Damon Lindelof resurfaces. All right, so remember when James Gunn used to write for Troma?
Yes.
Remember when his brand was to be like filthy dirty on tweets?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that did come up to bite him in the ass a little bit, but then it kind of went away.
Well, he got fired from Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Oh, that's right, but then
they brought him back anyway.
Drax the Destroyer got pissed off.
Yeah.
Fucking Batista. Yeah.
And they brought him back.
Yeah. Right.
So this is like the very beginning of cancel culture.
Yes.
So somehow he survived cancel culture. So going into this, did you even know, first of all, that there's a new Green Lantern show coming as part of this whole new DCU?
Where's it airing?
Max.
Of course. No, I didn't know that.
So James Gunn's DCU announcement that the writing team for the series Lanterns on Max includes DC writer Tom King, Lost creator Damon Lindelof, and Ozark showrunner Chris Mundy. An old comment from Gunn in 2012 resurfaced where he harshly criticized Lindelof for the ending of Lost, calling him close to Satan and a scam artist and a liar. All right? I saw Lost.
Because of the smoke monster?
The whole ending was horrible.
It was bad. Yeah.
And it really rubbed him the wrong way. And he says, this guy is close to Satan. He's probably joking and all that shit. But despite past remarks, Gunn's attitude seems to have changed, possibly due to Lindelof's successful series like The Watchmen and The Leftovers. Gunn's past criticisms extend to Ridley Scott, expressing skepticism about Scott's works in Thelma and Louise in 1991. Like, this guy's just desperate for these tweets to go away. And now somebody decided to just dust up a whole bunch of them.
But as he was writing them, you figure, like, oh, this is going to get reaction.
Yeah.
Well,
it works for Howard Stern. It'll work for me.
Careful what you wish for.
Chris Mundy, known for his work on True Detective and Ozark, two shows I don't watch, but everybody seems to say are great.
True Detective Season 1, True Detective Season 4. Both very good. True Detective Seasons 2 and 3, Ozark I watch Season 1 of. I'm a sucker for Jason Bateman.
I like Justine a little better. Well, it says Chris Mundy, known for his work on True Detective and Ozark, joins the writing team aligning with Gunn's vision of a True Detective style approach for the Lantern series. Is that going to fit?
That's weird.
The Lantern series will feature Green Lanterns Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart, not from The Daily Show, investigating a terrestrial mystery integral to the larger DCU narrative.
I never envisioned Green Lantern being a detective. That's always been Batman's thing. If you're going to do a detective show for a DC character, make it Batman. Oh, you can't. You fucked up Batman 27 different times with that many different reboots. That would have been the way to go.
What's wrong with the Green Lantern movie with Ryan Reynolds? Like, I remember not liking it, but is it because this whole thing can't work in a movie?
No, I mean, it relied too much on bad CGI. And as I've said time and time again, a superhero movie is only as good as the villain. The villain was terrible.
Who was the villain? He was like some mutating guy.
Not Brainiac. Brainiac's from Superman, but he was like a big brain yellow guy. Pink. He was pink, I guess. I forget. No, the pink guy was the guy that died that gave Hal Jordan the ring, and he became part of the Green Lantern Corps.
Sinestro.
Yeah, but then they went to the Green Lantern Council, and then that was all fucking CGI'd up. It was just bad CGI.
Kind of want to see it again.
It kind of gave me... We should watch it.
All right, let's end the show. Let's put it on.
It kind of gave me Spawn vibes.
I do remember the enemy at the end was like in the sky. Like took over the entire sky.
Yeah.
I hate that shit.
Yeah.
The Hulk did that. Remember the Ang Lee Hulk? He was fighting some fucking tornado or something. Like, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's too ambitious.
But man, that Green Lantern definitely got panned. If you think about it, every single Ryan Reynolds superhero attempt up until the current Deadpool, complete dog shit.
Well, I mean, he came out, he did Waiting. Everybody thought that was fun. He did Van
funny.
Wilder. And then he did nothing for like 10 years.
No, he did that one with Sandra Bullock, The Proposal. That was funny. He got into some romantic comedy type shit, but he was good in that.
You watch those rom-coms?
I have. I've seen it. I'd watch it again. It's Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, he's got a list of movies you go, I haven't heard of, 80% of these. And then the other 20 are like, oh yeah, Detective Pikachu. Everybody's heard of that.
Yeah, but like that was shit. But like, what about the new guy? Or not the new guy. What's the one where he's the NPC?
I think it is the new guy.
Is it called the new guy?
Not the Fall Guy.
Not the Fall Guy. That was a good movie.
You did finally see it, huh?
What, the Fall Guy? No, I'm talking about the new guy.
Yeah.
I'm sticking with Ryan Reynolds right now.
Yeah. Well, I said Fall Guy, you got all excited. All right. Let me go to my next story here. This one might be, there's a lot of Lord of the Rings fans, Scott. Lots of them.
I do. I didn't watch this last season, but like the original trilogy, like the Tolkien stuff, even The Hobbit. I watched the trilogy of The Hobbit. I'm down.
People hate The Hobbit. I didn't think it was that bad.
No. The Desolation of Smog? Shitty title, but that's what it was called.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So this is from Variety. Viggo Mortensen, who's that?
He plays, I can't think of it.
The main.
The King of Men.
Yeah. So Viggo Mortensen. Viggo Mortensen asked Peter Jackson if he could use Aragon's sword in a new movie.
Aragon. Why couldn't I think of that? No, he's Isildur's heir. Why am I drawing a fucking blank?
I don't know.
Keep going.
That whole series, I watched every movie one time and said they're all amazing, but I never go back to stuff that's that big.
Yeah, but I read the books and I know a lot of the characters. So he is Aragorn, Isildur's heir, King of Men.
I know Bilbo Baggins.
Bilbo Baggins, he was barely in the original trilogy.
Because I like what his name rhymes with. All right. So Viggo Mortensen revealed in an interview with GQ UK magazine that he used Aragon's iconic sword from the Lord of the Rings in his latest movie, The Dead Don't Hurt. So Mortensen, I want to say Morgensen, but it's Mortensen, wrote and directed the 19th century Western in which he stars as a Danish immigrant separated from his love during the Civil War. Sign me up. I'm going to see that one.
Where does a sword from Middle-earth fit into this story?
All right, it's coming. For one fantasy sequence in the film, Mortensen asked his Lord of the Rings director Peter Jackson if he had the permission to use Aragon's sword again on screen. Mortensen played the character in Jackson's original Rings trilogy and kept the sword after the production wrapped. So he says, "We had everything for the sequence with a knight. We had found this great spirited horse, the right kind of saddle, and we made a medieval kind of blanket, and we had everything perfect." Mortensen explains, "Everything was right, and then I said, well, we should have a sword. And I did look, and there were some really good ones, and I thought, well, it might be kind of good to use Aragon's sword that I had because it's a really good sword. But I knew I would have to ask permission because I'm sure somebody would notice it, even if you only see it for a few seconds. It's not really essential to the scene and certainly not to the movie. It's just something in passing that you either see or you don't see. So I asked Peter Jackson if he'd be all right with it, and he said, well, is it very important to the story? I said, no, it's not really. You hardly notice it, but somebody will, probably. So Peter Jackson said, it's okay with me, but you better ask the movie company. So he goes and he asks the movie company, they're like, is that going to make us any money? Or no, I can't pay you. We can give a shit what you do. So there you go. For people who are diehard Lord of the Rings fans, and you want to see the sword again, go see Viggo Mortensen's new movie, The Dead Don't Hurt. I know there's fans of this movie that would just go see that movie to see if they can spot the sword.
Like, I'm a fan of the movies, but I wouldn't go see a Western to see something that's a callback to Middle-earth.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
I don't even know that Aragorn was my favorite character.
I like the guy with the axe.
And my axe.
And my axe.
Is that Rhys Davies?
Mm-hmm.
Sala?
Yeah, it's
Love it.
Yeah.
It took me a long time to realize that was the same guy. Like, I'm embarrassed at how long it took me to realize that was the same actor.
Really?
Yeah.
I saw it in the credits, so I was like, oh.
Yeah, after a 3-hour movie, I had to piss really bad. I didn't stick around for the credits.
Yeah.
This wasn't a Ghostbusters Frozen Empire situation.
Yeah, no.
I didn't sit there till the lights came back on.
Yeah, those movies were long, man. They were long. They were good, but they were long. Like, I wonder if they hold up now.
I still watch them.
Really?
Yeah.
Special effects were great.
Incredible.
Yeah.
The sets were incredible. Filmed on location. Peter Jackson is a great director.
I remember he did
Hot
that.
take. I mean, nobody's ever really questioned Peter Jackson, but his King Kong movie was fantastic too with Jack Black.
Didn't do well, but I remember thinking it was good.
It was good.
I know he did a couple dramas and things like that.
Yeah.
I think he did The Frighteners.
He did some horror movie stuff.
And then you go back to the beginning stuff. Dead Alive.
Dead Alive.
And, Bad Taste is one. Like, just awful Evil Dead style comedy horror.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, after you see that, you don't go, generally.
This guy's a genius.
You generally don't go, let's give him Lord of the Rings. Yeah. He makes bloody, disgusting horror movies on $20. Let's give him a bazillion-dollar budget for Lord of the Rings.
Until Peter Jackson was given Lord of the Rings, everything people tried to do with the license botched it.
That Amazon show, you mean?
Well, no, but I mean, like, even historically, like, there was, like, a Rankin Bass, like, cartoon, like, the people that did, like, the Frosty the Snowman and shit like that.
Oh, right.
They
Oh,
did,
that,
like, The Hobbit and stuff like that, but, like, things done with the Lord of the Rings franchise, fucking terrible, up until the point Peter Jackson took it by the reins and made it the probably billion-dollar thing that he did.
what else was it about that creepy little cartoon?
It's creepy.
It was creepy. The Hobbit looked gross.
Weird, yeah.
Nightmare fuel. All right, here's my next story. Chris Hemsworth in talks to lead G.I. Joe Transformers crossover movie for Paramount and Hasbro. He would star in the event film that was teased in last year's Transformers Rise of the Beast. So Chris Hemsworth is doubling down on Transformers. The actor is in talks to lead an untitled crossover film for Paramount and Hasbro that unites the Transformers and G.I. Joe franchises, the Hollywood Porter has confirmed. This marks the second Transformers project for Hemsworth, who voices Optimus Prime.
He did Prime.
Yeah, in the Transformer 1 animated movie that's coming out. September 20th, that comes out.
So in this one, would he be heading this crossover movie as a Joe or as a Transformer? Or both?
It's a very good question. I should probably keep reading.
Don't let me stop you. Even though I just did.
The proposed film follows the events of last year's Transformers Rise of the Beast, which ended with Anthony Ramos' Noah Diaz getting a job offer from the Joes. Director Stephen Cappell Jr. put the ending in at the encouragement of producer Lorenzo di Bonventura. Boy, they're really trying to challenge me with names today. With the filmmakers knowing it could take some maneuvering to make it happen. The studio reacted positively. This is a quote. And then they were like, well, how do we do this? How do we actually make this happen? Noting there was a crossover graphic novel that could serve as inspiration.
Yeah.
It took almost 2 years to go through the whole system and talk everybody into it to get the feel for blah, blah, blah. Okay, so the question you're asking is not actually answered. It doesn't say what he's going to do in this article. But it's talking also here, it says, he's kind of trying new things. He's in that new Furiosa movie. I don't know if you saw the trailer for that. So it's kind of cool. I like him a lot. I love Thor, and he's fighting being typecasted.
I was going to say, of anybody that was in an Avengers movie, he is certainly breaking that mold more than anybody else.
I think you're right.
I was watching him eating hot wings the other night. He was on Hot Ones.
You were watching that?
Yeah. You watched it on vacation?
I haven't seen that one.
Okay.
I love the Conan O'Brien one.
Oh, that was fantastic.
I remember watching Paul Rudd, too. I think was pretty good.
I love how Paul Rudd takes, like, dirty pictures by putting his hand in front of somebody's cell phone camera.
What?
Yeah, like, he'll, like, use, like, the skin between, like, his thumb and his finger, and like put the camera just right. And it looks like you're like an ass cheek or like a vag. It's so funny. Apparently, he has like an entire folder on his phone of nothing but like celebrity photos with like the gooch in front of it.
Oh my God, really?
He does it on the show. They had to blur it out. He goes, it looks real. He's like, to put my thumb, that looks like a nutsack hanging down here. And like, it's a hobby that he has.
I want that hobby.
It's fantastic. Go back and watch that episode. I highly recommend it. Paul Rudd, I liked him before. I like him even more since watching his Hot Ones episode.
What? Here's a segue back to what I was watching in the Bahamas. I was watching a like one of those Mojo top 10 Mojos.
Oh, yeah.
Like it
clickbait.
Yeah. I fall for that all the time. Fucking Mojo. It was the top 10 scenes that were bloopers, but they kept them in. And this was, remember, This Is 40?
Yeah.
Remember that movie?
Yeah.
I didn't remember this, but there's a scene where he's laying in bed with
Leslie Mann,
and he just starts farting. And you can see her face just cracking up because that's not in the script.
It wasn't supposed to be farting.
And she's like, stop farting in bed. Like she just went with it. So it's a totally improvised scene. And the farts you hear are really him.
Love Paul Rudd.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. All right, here's my last story before we get to the quick bites. IndieWire. Sony will use AI to cut film costs, says CEO Tony. Oh my God, another fucking unpronounceable name. Vinisequera. That's not so bad. Tony Vinisequera. All right, so they will look to produce both films for theaters and television in a more efficient way using AI primarily, he said. The next Spider-Verse film, for example, may have a brand new animation style. It might be AI-based. So Sony Pictures Entertainment CEO Tony does not mince words when it comes to artificial intelligence. He likes the tech, or at the very least, he likes the economics. He says, we are very focused on AI. The biggest problem with making films today is the expense. Vinisequera says at Sony's Thursday investor event. We will be looking at ways to produce both films for theaters and television in a more efficient way. All right, I'm repeating myself. That's about the strongest support we've ever gotten for AI, like from a theater, from a studio.
Yeah.
Right? Because
Yeah.
everybody's been like, we're afraid to talk about it. The strike just happened. We're afraid they'll be like, yeah, we actually do want this because it's going to make things cheaper. This is the first guy to really come out and say, yeah, as a studio, we're looking for an AI.
I'm not against that. I'm not even against it for an economic reason. What I'm against is we'd be willing to change the third movie's animation style in a trilogy in order to use AI. I think the thought should be, if we can use AI to mimic the animation style we already have, we're going to do that. If they're willing to actually like ruin the artistic integrity for the third movie in a trilogy to save a buck, that's fucking stupid.
That line, when I said it wasn't a quote. It was actually from the writer saying, oh, that might be what happens.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just to correct that. But I think it will. I mean, I think what they could do is train the AI once this technology gets a little better. And some of the things I've heard Adobe's doing and some of the things I've heard Google's doing, it may be closer to that than we think. But if you can train the AI on the first two movies.
I was going to say, it's more likely that they could use the first two movies as templates, training data for the AI. It's more likely that it will reproduce that exact same style than it would be come out with something completely brand new.
Yeah. I mean, if the script says, have Spider-Man jump off the Golden Gate Bridge and land on a boat, days of animating that. If you can just put a prompt and roll the dice and you get a perfectly good-looking image of, you know, Spider-Man jumping onto the boat and it looks just like the other movie and it's a good scene,
Print it.
So he says, we had an 8-month strike over AI last year, said Tony, as he began his responses to all these people who were like, you know, sort of now questioning him about it.
Right.
He acknowledged that the ongoing IATSE talks and the forthcoming Teamsters negotiations, which we talked about not too long ago, you know, that's still going on. The agreements that came out last year's strike and the agreements that come out of the IATSE will definitely roughly design what we can do with AI. So we're still in that fight, is what I think the point of what he's trying to say there, even though it came out kind of jumbled there. We're still in that fight. The studios want this. The actors, everybody else who helps build these movies, they don't want this. So it's a bold move. It's a bold move from Sony to be like, yeah, we're going to do it. You know, you don't want it, but we're just putting it out there. We're going to do it.
Here's the slippery slope with this story, though. If you can use AI to replace animators, not that animators have a huge voice in Hollywood, you're getting rid of an entire job.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of scary.
That's actually the downside to all this.
I know. He's not wrong. The efficiency's going to be there. Saving money's going to be there. You may have to pay for the software to have it done, but, you know, buy once, cry once. You're not paying people for scene. The computer does it all.
Yeah.
There's a human element to this.
We're at a point in life.
I know.
We've been at these points in not our lifetime, but in our human existence where, you know, suddenly books become Kindles, you know, suddenly.
Listen, this isn't the first time in this crazy simulation we live in that humans have been proven to be the inefficiency to it all.
Yeah. Well, the theory that I hear as an argument is, yeah, AI will steal a lot of jobs. You know, if you're a therapist, those people are going to go to AI to get that answer now. If you're a graphic designer, most people will go to AI to get that logo made. If you are doing admissions, most people will walk to a kiosk that has a fake face that totally mimics, you know, what LLMs will spit out of their interface. So I do know that all that's coming. But what they're saying is, but that creates a whole new level of jobs, AI management, AI. But that's also saying you're taking people that may not have the head for that. Not everybody can wrap their head around IT. Not everybody can wrap their head around, you know, what AI is really doing and all the technologies that's truly behind it.
Yeah, I don't think an animator is going to turn around and become an arbiter for a tech company.
Right. But that's
completely different skill sets.
Right. But that's kind of what they're saying. Oh, there'll be more jobs. But those are like super advanced jobs.
Here's my counter for this whole argument. AI, you know, look at supermarkets. Look at Target. Look at other department stores that have self-checkout. They're moving away from self-checkout in a lot of places because they're taking a fucking bath because people are shoplifting left and right.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're pulling back on the whole self-checkout thing because they're losing a boatload.
Oh, guess that's no surprise.
Again, humans are the inefficiency.
I read something the other day that they created a language model that's able to look at the stock market, and pick better stocks with statistics than what a human can.
Funds, the hedge funds and the brokerage houses can. Yeah, I believe that.
Yes.
It's all math. Anything that has a mathematical component, a computer is going to be better at finding patterns than what a human is.
And that's why a lot of these guys who are really AI, proponents are saying, they're like, this is going to help us figure out the cure for cancer, because we just couldn't figure it out without.
Yeah.
This isn't quantum computing, but it's almost like quantum computing.
I mean, the only way you're going to make more money in the stock market is if you have yourself a private psychic.
I was just spit out this really fine whiskey. That was off a spit take. Well done. All right. Well, I read that story like shit, but hopefully you all got it, because we're moving right. We're not going to redo anything anymore.
No.
We'll do it live. Do it live. We're not going to reread that story. All right. So wrapping up the show, we got a handful of quick bites here. Number one, activist, investor Nelson Peltz has sold his entire stake in Disney, according to a person familiar with the matter.
Well, I guess he took his ball and went home.
Yeah, I guess he did. If I can't be part of it, I'm just going to fucking disappear.
Man, fuck you guys. I didn't want to play anyway.
I was thinking about it. I was like, what happened to that guy? And no sooner was I thinking about it than it came up on my feed. I was like,
I remember kids like on the basketball court growing up, like, man, fuck you guys. I'm going home. I didn't want to play anyway.
Not going to let me on your team.
I ain't getting picked last.
This Nelson Peltz guy made me think of like Eric Cartman.
Ah! God damn it!
So maybe that'll be the last we hear of Nelson Peltz in this Disney shit.
It's wishful thinking.
Yeah. Deadpool and Wolverine unveils sexual Dune-inspired popcorn bucket.
Have you seen it?
I have seen it. I showed it to my wife, Amy. She loves Deadpool. And she looked at this and went, it's not real. There's no way they're going to try to do this. I go, Amy, no.
Absolutely.
This is real. They're doing it.
It's just a straight up Hugh Jackman Wolverine head. You just stuff your fist right into his mouth to grab yourself some warm, buttery popcorn.
Yeah. If you ever wanted a Wolverine-themed fleshlight, you can get one. You can get one now. Just go to the movies.
If you ever wanted Hugh Jackman slobbing your knob, just get yourself a popcorn bucket.
I can't believe they even said, like, did we say it on the show that they teased that they were going to
They were going to do worse than the Dune popcorn bucket.
They did.
They certainly did.
Ooh. How is Disney okay with this? How?
Yeah. And I will say, there were a lot of Deadpool Wolverine headlines that came across my news feed. But of all these stories, the only one I really cared about was the popcorn bucket.
Oh, it is clever.
Yeah. Am I going to go out and get the popcorn bucket? Absolutely not. Is it hilarious? Is it great for an online story? Absolutely.
I think I'm going to get it. Right up my alley. All right, here's my next quick bite. Nicholas Galitzine. What is with fucking name? What happened to Bob Smith? Nicholas Galitzine to play He-Man in Amazon.
Oh, I read this. Who the fuck is this guy?
I don't know. He's in a couple rom-coms. And they said with the rom-coms where I was like, I've never heard of them either. Yeah, he seems to be a up-and-comer but an unknown.
Worked for Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah. You know, remember Brandon Ruth? They picked him for Superman Returns.
Nope.
You don't remember?
Nope.
I loved the pick because they're like, we're not going to try to pick a celebrity to sell tickets. We're going to try to find somebody who looks like Christopher Reeves.
Okay.
I thought that was a bold move.
Yeah, I mean, a movie like that, the character is going to sell the movie.
Yeah, and I think that's what they're thinking here. He-Man will sell the movie.
People aren't going to see a Corn Sweat movie. They're going to see a Superman movie.
It's another great example.
People aren't going to see John Doe here. They're going to see fucking He-Man.
Just don't know how well this is going to work.
What's his name?
Oh, God. Why are you going to make me? Nicholas Galitzine.
Okay.
Galitzine.
Remember that name, people. His career starts here.
Yeah. Wearing a loincloth.
You sent me a meme that's not a loincloth. He just needs a manscape.
Oh, that's funny. If we were still doing the social media thing, I'd post that. That is a good meme.
This is why we need YouTube.
Yeah. Here's another one. CEO of Rockstar. You know what Rockstar is?
Rockstar Games. That's GTA.
CEO of Rockstar owner sizes up GTA 6. The world's in a different place than it was when we launched GTA 5, and the sequel could be unmatched in the industry. I've seen the trailer for this. It looks incredible.
Just complete open world.
Yeah. Way better graphics, just bigger, just smoother. And it's crazy to me how long GTA 5, you could still go online and play it, and there's people playing it. They love it. It doesn't go away. It's like Minecraft.
Yeah, the one incredible thing about Grand Theft Auto, and this is going back, I mean, shit, the first one came out when I was still in college. Each sequel, it's the same game, but has a completely different world, a completely different feel. You had the Vice, you had GTA 3 was Grand Theft Auto Vice City, I think. I mean, I can't remember all of them, but like the feel of it was completely, one year in LA, 1 year in Miami.
San Andreas.
Yeah, like all of the, felt a lot different. The world building was incredible.
Yeah.
The missions, I mean, a lot of them were wash, rinse, repeat, but it felt new because of the setting.
You had the option to do those missions any way you could figure out how to do them.
Yeah. I remember one time we were here playing and you were like on a billboard shooting a fucking helicopter with a rocket launcher.
Had to be done. So I'm excited for this game. I will get this one.
Is this coming out on console or is this a PC thing?
Probably everything.
Everything.
You know? I don't know how, you've heard me before. I don't know how long these consoles will last, but at some point, I mean, these games get so much bigger. They need hefty machines to run them.
Yeah, speaking of PC games, like they're re-releasing a few of them, but one that stood out to me coming out later this month. Remember Myst? The puzzle game Myst? Like on an island, you had to solve puzzles to get off the island.
I don't like puzzles. They make me feel dumb.
These were my games growing up.
Myst? Like Tomb Raider puzzles? Like you run a character?
Kind of. This was Myst, M-Y-S-T.
Yeah, I remember.
The sequel was Riven, it was called. And they're re-releasing Riven, or they're remaking Riven for PC coming out later this month.
And they're doing the whole like new polish, new graphics, all that.
Oh, yeah, it looks incredibly new. I mean, I hope they redo the puzzles, otherwise what's the point? But I know Jenna was a huge Myst and Riven fan. I was a huge fan of The Seventh Guest.
No, I don't know.
It was like a horror, haunted mansion puzzle game kind of thing. And they came up with the 11th Hour. These were all PC games I had growing up, and they seem to be re-releasing a lot of them or remaking a lot of them.
Did they ever try to remake Oregon Trail?
That's a great question. Like everybody knows the Oregon Trail.
Yeah.
Everybody died of dysentery.
Everybody dies of dysentery once in their life. All right, next up, Peter Parker will evidently be a 10-year-old kid in Tom Hardy's Venom 3 as per a leak that is circulating. So they've been trying to figure out how to get Spider-Man into the Sony, into the Sony Spider-Verse. So the whole thing that was being negotiated when they got the kid to be in the Marvel movies, the kid is Tom Holland, right? Yeah. They said, all right, he can be in the Disney MCU movies, but he also has to be in the Sony Spider-Verse stuff that we're making. And it's never happened. We haven't seen him yet.
Right.
So now that they're saying in Venom 3, it's a kid version, not Tom Holland, I'm wondering why they're letting go of their original thought of putting Tom Holland in Sony Spider-Verse movies.
And I was going to ask, which Spider-Man are we talking about? Are we talking about Miles Morales? Are we talking about Peter Parker? Are we talking about, which Peter Parker now? You know what I mean? There's been so many.
It'll be a new one. Yeah, it's Peter Parker. It's a 10-year-old Peter Parker. So I guess...
that will grow up to become Tom Holland?
I guess. Yeah, Tom Hardy's Venom and Eddie Brock will allegedly be on the hunt for Peter Parker before he could become Spider-Man. Guess that's the story there.
Okay.
And I think Madam Web's story was, let me go after the 3 girls and kill them before they become Spider-Women. So not an original idea at all.
But I did also read that Madam Web is going to be brought into the Venomverse type thing too.
You think they would now, after how bad that bombed?
Yeah.
Like, is Morbius going to show up? I mean, there's no way.
I mean, I guess the question is, how far along is this story already written before this shit tanked?
Could you imagine, like, Venom 3 is like, we're bringing them all back. It's Morbius, it's Madam Web, and it's Craven the Hunter. We pushed that movie for 3 fucking.
Nobody even saw Craven the Hunter.
Hasn't even come out yet. Yeah, it's so bad they can't release it.
Good Lord.
I don't know. They don't know what they're doing over there at Sony on these Spider-Man movies.
That's the thing, man. These movies come out and they're already. We talked about it last week with Superman and Supergirl coming out and Superwoman. Maybe I forget what we were talked about last. It's been so long.
Yeah, it's been forever ago.
But I mean, they're planning these things to build off the movie that came before. What happens when the thing that came before is complete trash?
Right.
You're building a fucking castle on sand.
Well, talk about confusion. At the end of, I don't even remember which one it was, one of the Avengers movies, the secret ending was Venom shows up, right? Remember how he shows up in one of the endings of one of those movies and he gets pulled back to his Venom verse, but he leaves a little drop of symbiote juice?
Was that an Avengers movie?
Yeah.
Wow.
So that little drop is still in the MCU. I've heard that that's going to come back in with the next Spider-Man movie, and it's going to be Venom. But now it's not going to be the Tom Hardy Venom. It's going to be another Venom. So 2 Venom movies.
It's going to be the kid from that 70s show.
That'd be great if they brought him back.
Topher Grace?
I would love it.
Yeah.
He was the worst Venom possible. I love chaos. I like to watch things burn. I don't know. I don't know what Hollywood is thinking anymore.
Me neither.
Home Improvement co-star Patricia Richards says pay disparity with Tim Allen ended the show. I thought this was funny. So she thought the show had run its course, right? They're like, all right, we want you back for season 9. She's like, this show is dog shit. Like, why do you guys not realize that this show is dog shit? So she's
Tim
like,
Allen needed his cocaine money.
he did. So he was making $2 million and they offered her $1 million. And she goes, well, I know how to get out of this contract. I'm going to demand $2 million. And I know they'll never give it to me. And they never gave it to her and they canceled the show. So she's the reason the show was canceled because she just didn't want to do it anymore. So she asked for a crazy amount of money knowing they would reject it.
She had better bargaining power than Tattoo.
She sure did. So if you ever wanted to know what happened to Home Improvement, now we know. Patricia Richards has come out and told us.
I thought Richard Karn wanted to shave his beard.
Richard Karn? Oh, yeah.
Al.
Oh, I hated that guy over the fence. You never saw his face. That pissed
Wilson.
me off. Yeah. Fucking Wilson.
It was a good skit.
Long in the tooth by season 9.
Yeah. I thought the kids ruined it. They had the one goth kid.
I don't remember.
Yeah. The middle kid, or maybe the oldest kid became like a goth kid.
I think the oldest kid had some like law problems or something.
Yeah, that's the one. Remember that's where Pamela Anderson, that's where Pamela Anderson got her start?
That's right. Yeah. She said that when she put out that book not too long ago, she said that Tim Allen walked in one day with his junk hanging out, right? Which is such a fucking dick move that a guy like him might do. Yeah. So she writes in the book, he's like, I never did that. She's like, he absolutely did it. So, like, I love those things because somebody's a fucking liar. And we'll never know.
This is a Rebel Wilson story all over again.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I love when people fight because one's a liar, one's not. Our job to figure out as fans.
It's like a choose your own ending book.
Yeah. See, you get it. You get me, Scott.
Turn to page 46.
All right, let me hit you with our last story because this is a little bit of a callback to when we were talking about OpenAI and them stealing that voice. Because I've been wondering what the hell is going on there.
This is about Scarlett Johansson.
Scarlett Johansson. They say OpenAI copied her voice because they were inspired by her voice in Her.
Her, the movie, yes.
So the OpenAI CEO spoke at a UN-sponsored AI summit Thursday where he was asked about the Sky voice. That's the voice model's name is Sky. They said, hey, it sounded like the Her actress. He just goes, it's not her voice. It's not supposed to be. Sorry for the confusion. Clearly you think it is. People are going to have different opinions about how much the voices sound alike, but we don't. Not her voice. Not sure what else to say. That's it.
That's such a cop-out.
See, I actually thought that's a great response. Just like, guys, I don't want to get involved in this. It's not her fucking voice. We got some other actors who happen to sound like her. Sue me.
People sound like people.
People sound like people. Because I also agree that it's a stupid idea to go and try to say, you're stealing my voice when, sorry, Joe, I'm going to name my OpenAI bot Scarlett just to fucking be meta about it. But like, she really thinks that somebody was copying her voice. And to me, when I heard it, I was like, I don't know that that's her from anybody. Again, it's the same argument I made last time. It's not like she has a standout. It's not like she's Fran Drescher. You know what I mean?
That'd be great.
Then you'd be like, oh, you're clearly copying somebody's voice because you're taking all these characteristics of a wacky voice. Scarlett Johansson's voice is just a female voice in my ears. And I think Sam Altman of CEO of ChatGPT is agreeing. It's like, there's nothing here, guys. Bark up another tree.
So when Mark Hamill was doing, he gave his voice to like incoming Ukrainian missile warnings. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember.
It's so weird.
I hope somebody hires me for my voice. Maybe somebody will hear this podcast and go, I need him to be a voice for an AI bot.
There was that time where like Garmin was having people, like celebrities, do voice recordings for turn-by-turn GPS.
What happened to it? Didn't James Earl, wasn't there a Darth Vader?
There was a Darth Vader. There was a Samuel L. Jackson.
Really?
Yeah.
Right there left on Jefferson Street.
That was a block ago.
Make the first U-turn.
No!
Recalculating.
I can't do it. That's great. All right, well, that's the end of it. We're already at time. Why don't you wrap us up?
This was a fun one. Thanks for bringing the story. That was fun. I never knew about Fantasy Island, Beyond Tattoo, and The Plane to Plane.
Well, that's what we bring to the people on this show.
So to answer the question, I did not hear about this, but now I did.
Now you did.
And so did everybody else that's listening, and thank you for doing so. Tell a friend. Let's continue to grow, and we'll see you next week.
Unless I go on another vacation.
We'll do it live. We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.